Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Gungu and friends. Today we're from Group 4, which consists of Benedictus Hanzen, Shafa Haliza, and myself, Gabriel. We're going to present about our IS development for PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. So first, we will going to start with the company profile. So the company was activated on August 2021. However, the company itself was declared legal by the government a couple years before that. The current user of the company's physical authority is in an agreement with the founder to loan it for several years according to project availability. So it focused on providing dump trucks to transport mining product from mining site to warehouse. The company aimed for a project tender, which will be explained later, with a contract varied from 1 to 2 years, usually. Okay, so for the company business model, the company provide transportation for mining product, and one of the job title that we use as the for the information to be obtained is hauling coal from mine stockpile to port stockpile, and it is located in Jambi, and the mile is around 208 kilometers and one trip per day. With the amount of 20 dump trucks, 8 owned and 12 rented, this information is very useful as in the end, our group focus on fixing the problem that the company face while renting the 12 dump trucks. And for the contract of the project is 1 year agreed contract also for the 12 rented dump trucks. And another information is the mining company will pay in front according to their calculation of coal weight and capability of PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. If there is any operational increase, it will be paid at the end of the contract. So here's the operation process or day-to-day process that each dump truck go through. The first one is dump truck depart from mess, continued with fuel refill at closest gas station, and then they arrive at the mining site and start to load the mining product. And then the third one is dump trucks depart from site, continued again with fuel refill at closest gas station, and then they arrive at the port stockpile before departing back to the mess. Here's the legacy system DFD for their business flow. However, our group created two DFD to explain how PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa conduct their business, starting from the open tender until the payment done by the mining company to them. And the second one will show how the dump truck rental is performed. So for the first one, flow chart in this figure represent PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa legacy system and the business process. The company first received information regarding open tender by mining site, which shown in activity number 1, continued with the decision from the mining site by considering proposal proposed by PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa or represented here in activity number 2. So as we all know, when a company open their tender, there will be several companies that proposed, and the mining company will choose one. And in here, PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. And the next phase is the agreement phase done by both companies, which shown in activity number 3. In this phase, both parties will need to sign contracts that will be used as the base of the cooperation and to regulate some authorities. After the contract, PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa will get the invoice, which consists of details and its total to the mining company. And then it will be recorded in the invoice database. to be paid using to be used in paying deposit. So they will give the invoice to the mining company while also record their invoice in the invoice database. Therefore, they will have two copies of the invoice, and the invoice that is given to the customer or the mining company will be used as the base of the payment by the mining company. And then the fifth activity is to pay the deposit, as been mentioned before, and then the payment will be sent and managed by the finance manager. And then the proof of the payment will be recorded in the transaction database. So in activity number 3, when the company and the customer or the mining company create agreement, this shows that also this also shows the agreement that will be used in further analysis of the problem, because the problem caused by the difference between the fact of the operation in the field and the agreement that both companies have made before. The next one is the legacy system DFD for the dump truck rental. So this represents the rental process, as the company only owns 8 dump truck and have to rent another 12 from the truck rental company. This begin with the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa to give their demand or request to the rental company shown in activity number 1, which resulted in price agreement and its total. The crucial part that is related to the current problem they face is on creating the agreement for incidents, or activity number 2. As in the fields, multiple problems ranging from small to big problems happen. After it's dealt, the invoice will be given by the rental company, activity number 3, and recorded in the invoice database. The company then performs payment, which shown in activity number 4, complete by receiving the payment proof from the rental company. The proof is recorded in the transaction database. At last, the company received the 12 dump truck to be used in the operation. In here, the agreement that they created is also crucial. However, it is more crucial that the agreement that PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa have made between them and the mining company, because the mining company only knows about getting the job done and demanding for PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa to provide all 20 dump trucks as been dealt in the first time. So here, the activity number 2 in here is more crucial, even though it is the same about creating agreement for incidents. So we will go through the problem. About the problem explanation during the operational hour, it is natural that there are several problems that might happen, especially problems related to the dump truck condition. To mitigate this, both the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa and the dump truck rental company, also the mining site, have agreed that some technical incidents will be either becomes a sole responsibility for the rental company, or both of them. The both of them here represents the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa and the dump truck rental company, not the mining company. The distinguishing factor for that is according to the level of the incident. Small incidents such as flat tires should be fixed by the rental company themselves, while bigger incidents such as differential gear should be fixed by both parties, as bigger companies, bigger problems or incidents rarely happened, and if it happened, it will cost a lot. So both company agreed on paying it 50-50. However, in reality, the dump truck drivers often ask for a loan to the company, to PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa, to solve the particular small problem. And this lead to unexpected expense, as the legacy DFD system for PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa, they didn't provide any master data or file to record the unexpected expense. Therefore, such spending rarely be recorded. We saw here that the main problem is in the unoptimized IS system, because talking about the contracts and the difference between what happened in the field and what have been agreed is not in our line of authority, and it is also not related to the knowledge that we're trying to provide. It is more on the managerial and operational, which is the authority of the company itself. So we will try to fix that particular problem by adding something that is according to our knowledge, which is about the IS system. So throughout the lifeline of PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa, they still use manual recording. Therefore, the calculation of operation expenditure and decision making weren't optimal. Our group proposed the use of computerized IS system that accommodate the company to input operational data and autonomously recorded to support calculation and decision making. So here is for the IS development methodology that we proposed. We will use the agile development methodology. So in choosing methodology, there are several things that needs to be considered. The first one, however, is to understand the request or demand from the company. So the company's president asks our group for simple and not the complex IS changes that can be done in a short period of time. So there are several factors being considered. The first one is changes caused by dynamic business environment, as PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa relies on projects, on tenders, and there are many kinds of projects and tenders that with their asset, which is the dump truck, can be performed. And the second one is business model relies on tender, means that the company will face different situations and operations problems. So referring to how dynamic the circumstances are for PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa, our group prepared the company with an information system that allows further enhancement following the problems they will face in the future. And for the another factors have been mentioned, which is business models that relies on tender. They will face different things, and therefore the information system that needs to be implemented have to be flexible enough to be changed over time. And fortunately, the two things are suitable to what agile methodology provided. So the first advantage from agile methodology is the focus on tackling prioritized problems in sequence. So in focusing to tackle prioritized problems, the IS development will not going to take a lot of time, and therefore the operators or the employees that will be assigned in taking care of the information system will not going to receive a hefty amount of knowledge that they need to understand. They could done it little by little following the sequence of the development. And in tackling prioritized problems, they will not going to need to spend that much. and their problems will be done in a short period of time. And several advantage provided by agile methodology is for the number one is to reduce risks such as errors, cost of runs, and changing requirements. And it also shows how to eliminate waste throughout the development cycle. So here is the explanation for the introduction or the background of the business and the problems that our group saw and the IS development methodology that we will use to finish the problem. And for the solutions and its explanation, it will be continued by my colleague. Thank you.
Right, so the solution to the Sinar Rokan problem is that first we're going to suggest that the company should develop the information system. So with the development of the information system, this could assist the company in mitigating the unexpected costs, such as by giving the tools and calculating for the total cost that could be happen from the unexpected events, such as the accident that occurred to the vehicle. And from that, they could also plan the maintenance needed for the vehicle that needs to be fixed in order not only to avoid the accident, but also for the unexpected causes that could lead to the drawback of the company's revenue generating. And this could help the company in making a decision making process more simple, so that they can base their decision on the factual information from the information system that can give the data that needed to decide the decision that should be made. Okay, next please. And in reducing the unexpected costs, the companies need to keep track of the costs for repairs or other purposes. So they need to know or predict the things that could happen to the vehicle, and soon after they acknowledge the event that's been happening on the vehicle, they need to record it immediately for the data that could be the base of the decision making process. And after that, they could arrange the preparation for the vehicle repair activities. This could help the vehicle to be fixed immediately and not cause the company into miscommunication of the recording for the unexpected costs. And they need to also create an advanced information system that could focus more on the unexpected causes, so it would not be the disturbance for the other system information processes that generates other than the unforeseen causes. So moving on to the feasibility studies of the solution from the PT Sinar Rokan. So in the technical point of view, the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa integration with their business with the new information system maintenance, they need to done some activities in order to make this integration successful. So first they need to construct the entire company's information system and include the certain element to aid the personnel in updating transaction records that could address the unexpected costs. they need to establish a security policy to watch data flow for the race to the company operating system in case of the unexpected event, and they could use the description portal for the staff or driver of the vehicle to be written and associated with the unexpected event by giving them a log to document the activities that been happening in the vehicle. And they could install technology in the accommodation to record vehicle shipping distance and oil consumed, which may be converted into the amount of cost required to minimize the potential expense that could increase. And lastly, they could done some integration of the devices that could use to record the vehicle maintenance history in order to anticipate the future cost of the next repair. And for the from the operational perspective, the human resource in charge of the corporate operation must adapt to the new information system and the new management process. So therefore, the employee should be trained to use the new information system required for the mitigating unexpected expense. And the employee should be trained to use an equipment and technology required for future cost projection. And the staff should be provided with instruction on how to utilize the feedback platform and logs in order to record the action that occurred in vehicle, and they and then could provide the documentation of the incident facts. And the personnel should be provided with the instruction on how to use the information system to upgrade the master file of database core in recording the transaction. And lastly, the employee should be taught to oversee the maintenance of certain vehicle. And lastly, in the economic perspective, so some expenses are necessary for PT Sinar Rokan to construct a new information system. Therefore, they need to purchase the new information system that first needs to hire a programmer in order for the creation of it. And also, this will need the expenses for the annual digital storage structure for the database of the vehicle repair or maintenance costs. And they also need to expand in the daily digital system base for the repository of driver feedbacks and the records for the activities associated with the vehicle operation. And they also will have to provide the incentive to invest in a regular digital storage approach for updating the database of unexpected vehicle expenditure, and especially for the maintenance. And also they need to start uh, planning for the annual spending in the equipment and gadgets used to record and anticipate the unpredicted costs.
Okay, thank you, Shafa, for the presentation. Now we are going to see about the system improvement design of the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. Okay, now for the system improvement design, there will be three main parts, which is the system documentation, the input and output design, and the data dictionary. Now for the system documentation, it will consist of the physical and logical DFD level 0, the DFD level 1, and finally the ERD, or the entity relationship diagram. Now for the input and output design, it will consist of the UI UX for the new system information, and lastly the data dictionary of the new system information. Now for the system documentation, here is the logical DFD level 0. So what differentiate the logical DFD level 0 with the old one is we added two new parts, which is the asset checking and listing, and also the funds allocation, which the asset checking and listing will be contributed to the checking and also listing of all of the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa asset, which there are 20 trucks, and it is quite a lot of trucks, and with that there will be must view of checking and listing of the routine checkup and etc. And also the funds allocation will be our new improved recording system, so that unexpected costs will not be unrecorded and or unrealized. And so here the funds allocated part will be new and improved, where it can also record, and also it can show whether the fund is already allocated to the truck driver, so they won't ask for a refund or ask for pinjaman, etc. Now this is the physical DFD level 0. And there are two new database to accompany with the two new section, which is the asset database and also the unexpected cost database. The asset database which link with the fourth part, or the asset current condition listing and checking, and also for the unexpected cost database will link to the allocation of funds for the unexpected cost, or also in the transaction in the transaction. Now, moving on to the physical DFD level 1. Here's the physical DFD level 1 for the first part, which for the first part, there will be divided into two. The proposal is being reviewed by the team, and it will be continued by the proposal checking. And the 1.2, it will discuss about the checking the specific needs of the customer from the proposal. And continuing on, for the second part, when the proposal is reviewed, is thoroughly reviewed, there will be three main parts, which the proposal is when after it's being reviewed and tendered, it is agreed by the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. And secondly, after the agreement is made, the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa will check if the customer requires specific needs for the transaction or the shipment of the goods later on. And also after that, there will be also the price agreement, especially for the incidents and unexpected costs that might happen during the travel. And moving on, after the decision is made, the agreement of the price will be created between the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa and the customer. And after the agreement of the price is made, it will create the invoice. And after that, moving to the fourth part, which also will divide it into two. The asset will be first checked for the eligibility before being used, and after the asset is checked, the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa will do a routine checkup and service to avoid potential accidents before the trucks are being used, or the truck is being used. For the fifth part, it's for the proposed system payment. Now, for the proposed system payment, it will selecting the payment method for the agreed contract, and also the payment will be after the payment of the contract agreed contract, and input it to the transaction database. After that, the proposed system for the funds allocation. Now, the funds allocation will be divided into three parts, which is the first one, the guiding the drivers for the potential incident or unexpected cost to minimize the potential damage for if there is any potential incidents, or to minimize the window for potential incidents or accident. Now, for the second part, the fund for unexpected cost or incident will be given to the driver, and here it will have a systematic recording process. And for the third or last part, if there is no unexpected cost or incident or accident happening within the shipment, the fund itself will be given back to the company. And lastly, the goods will be received and the trucks will be sent home to the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. Now, for the ERD, or the entity relationship diagram of the proposed solution, here is the entity relationship diagram for the proposed solution, where the customer will be linked into the transaction, and also the customer also will be linked to the cost, and the cost will be linked to the employee, and the transaction also linked to the employee, and the employee will be linked to the asset. Here, the customer refers to the customer or the company's name, and also the company's address will be inputted. The transaction itself will mainly be the invoice database and transaction database. For the cost, it will be the unexpected cost in the transaction, or also the cost allocated for the incidents or accidents. And for the employees, It will be for the employees in chef or employees on the road, and also regarding the employees data. And for the asset, mainly for the truck condition, trucks in use, and also the truck checkup or routine. Now moving on to the UI/UX design. And this is where the login page for the administration of the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa database admin checkup is you just basically input the username and password, like the basic things. And after that, moving on to the home page, this will be the home page where there are four main sections. First is the transaction, second is the master data, third is the asset, and final one is the financial report for the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa's database. Now, when you click on transaction, there are two main distinguishable parts. First is the current ongoing transactions, and the second is the past transaction or the transaction history of PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa. Now, for the current transaction, you can see, like in the example right here, there are three current ongoing transaction, and in the current ongoing transaction, it will be also show what steps is the current ongoing transaction. Like for example, the PT Sinar Jaya is going to the ongoing for the second transaction, which is the PT Kanosalinda Tbk, is reviewing the proposal, and for the third one or last one, the PT Berkaanugerah Abadi is waiting for payment. Now, for the transaction history, it will show the date of the final of the end of the transaction, and also it will show whether there are any accidents or incidents during the sending. Like for example, here in PT Ultima Jaya, there are no incidents or accidents, but for the PT Bumi Daya Abadi, there's an unexpected unexpected incidents, which is the flat tire. Here, the unexpected cost will be in use because there is a flat tire within the transaction. Now, for the second part, which is the master data. Now, in the master data, there are three parts, which is first the invoice database, second the transaction database, third and lastly the unexpected expense database. Now, for the invoice database, as you can see, like here, we just show the invoice of the invoice. For the second is the transaction database. Like before, it shows the transaction. Third is the unexpected expense database, which, as you can see here, for the first one, because this PT Sinar Anugerah Jaya is going to the current ongoing transaction, is already allocated to the drivers, and the driver has received the funds. If anything is needed, the funds will be there. For the PT Carousel, it won't be given yet because they haven't made any payment. For the third or the PT Berkaanugerah Abadi, it will be allocated soon after the payment is already paid. Now for the assets, it will here show four main things, which is the current trucks in base, the trucks on duty, the trucks condition, the trucks routine checkup. Here it will give a better showing of how the truck is going, and also how many trucks is in base or is on duty. Lastly, the financial report. Now for data dictionary, as you can see here, the data dictionary, there is the first, the customer name, second is the customer address, third is the transaction duration, fourth is the transaction number, fifth is the sales amount, sixth is the unexpected expense amount, and lastly the unexpected expense name. For the next part, it will be guided by my friend Shafa.
So now we are moving on to the project scheduling of the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa solution. So in this project scheduling, there will be four main activities that will be done. That is first creating and integrating the new information system. Second will be the vehicle repairment, maintenance, and driver's log history. Third is the prediction on the mitigation of the unexpected costs. And lastly will be the implementation of the agile software development method. And in the span of 2 months, in the creation and the integration of the new information system will be done first by planning and research that took in week 1 and week 2 by the January, and the creation of it will be took in the week 2, week 3, week 4 of the January, and week 1 and week 2 by the February. And the rest of the trials and the launch will be done in the week 3 of the February and the week 4 of the February. And moving on to the vehicle repairment and the maintenance and the driver's log history, the planning and research will be done in week 1 and week 2 by the January. And the creation of the database will be done in this from week 2 till week 4 for the January, and there will be also in week 1 of the February. And for the implementation of the search vehicle with its history, it will be done in week 2 and week 3 by the February. And the trial for the search keyword and the launch of the vehicle history using the search keyword system will be done in the week 4 of the February. Moving on to the prediction and the mitigation of the unexpected cost, the planning and research will be done same as the previous activities. It will be done in the week 1 and week 2 of the January. And for the creation of the clinical database for prediction and the mitigation of the unexpected costs will be taken the week 2, week 3, week 4 by the January, same as the creation of the database and the information system creation. And also for the implementation of the calculation feature for the unexpected costs will be taken in the week 1, week 2 by the February. And for the trial of these tools will be done in the week 2 and week 3. And lastly, for the launch of this tool will be done in the week 4. As for the implementation of the agile software, by first identifying the PT Sinar Rokan Perkasa business goals and the vision to determine the strategy that they will need to implement will be done in the week 1 by the January, and the analyzing process will be done in the week 1, week 2 by the January. And for the creation of the product and the sprint backlog will be done in the week 2, week 3, week 4, and the weekly iteration will be, for the creation of the product and sprint backlog will be done in the week 2, week 3, week 4 of the January, and also will be done in the week 1 of February. The weekly iteration will also take from the week 2 till week 4 of January, and week 1, week 2 of the February. For the testing of the software, it will be done in the week 1, week 2, week 3 of the February. And lastly, for the launch of the software will be done in the week 4 of February. Now moving on, we are now going to conclude and give recommendation regarding to the final project of the PT Sinar Rokan. So our proposal is only modest effort to meet the demands of the enterprise, that is the PT Sinar Rokan demand, by wanting to have a information system that could give them the accessibility of mitigating the unexpected costs. So the goal of implementing new information system is to create a structure that allows the organization to make fair estimation and fair estimation of judgment within a restricted time period with their difficulties of unforeseen event. So several phases have been accomplished to apply the upgrade in line with the needs of the organization, and the project can successfully be completed on schedule as specified in the plan phase. So in this project, the data was reviewed from every activity and build an organization blockchains to assess the correlation between the characteristic within the every activity. So this will be also followed by the output and the input design to better meet the needs, costs, and the consequences. And the organization then can introduce and assist staff in implementing the solution to the daily operation of the organization. So in the future, maybe due to the flexibility of the agile approach, the project is expected to manage and react to the company's expanding expectations. So the required information, tools, equipment, techniques, and many more must all be built by the project team. So this should be revised as the project progress. And some of these aspects may already exist or can be improved. And the solutions are supposed to assist the organization in planning to face and unforeseen issues, so therefore lowering expenses and maybe everything accident. So this hopefully can improve the company's professionalism and productivity in meeting client needs and also generating the revenue. So that is all from our presentation of the final project for PT Sinar Rokan. Thank you for the attention and see you.